Welcome, class, to part one of SketchUp. So, this is the site that you want to go. You can get here by going to our class assignment page and clicking on SketchUp. There's a link, and then part one is the directions, which is this. So, when I'm in SketchUp, I'm just going to start off by clicking Start Modeling. And the first thing I want to do is go ahead and save this. So name it whatever you want to. For example, I could just call it part one. And that'll be fine. So here are the directions or the dimensions that we want to take a look at. If you take a look, it's a little confusing. So some of the items may be a little ambiguous. And if you're a little, an inch off here or inch off there, it's perfectly fine as long as you get something that looks very similar to this finished product. So just kind of taking a look at this, the way that I read this is I see that the base is going to be 52 inches right here. From this portion to this portion is 52 inches, so this block. I'm going to worry about the back end a little bit later. And then I see that this dimension from this, let's just call this the width and let's call this the length, for example. This, I would say, is 40 inches, adding 11, 18, and 11. So from this to here is 40 inches. And then the height, how high up do I have to go? I could take a look at this picture, and this picture indicates that I'm going to go up 32 inches. Alrighty? And then the last thing I want to take a look at is the diameter of this circle, which is right here. The diameter of this circle is 16 inches, and the diameter of this back circle over here is 32 inches. So those are some of the different measurements that we need to keep in mind. And from this here to here is 11 inches, and also from here to here is 11 inches. So that's important for us to take a look at, and I'll show you why. All right, so with that being said, we kind of have an idea of the measurements. So let's go ahead and get started on SketchUp. I don't particularly need this, so I'm going to select it and just hit delete. Got rid of it. And as I mentioned, the base is going to be a 40 by 52, or you could do 52 by 40. Doesn't really matter. Okay, class? So with that being said, these are some of our different basic tools that we have, and I'll kind of go over it as we explain: the pointer, the eraser, the paint, and so forth. Okay, so the first one I'm going to click on is the rectangle. I'm going to click on the rectangle, start over here, and it snaps into place when I'm right here. And as I start pulling out, I'm just going to type in 52, comma 40, and then I hit return. And that gives me this shape. And it's just a flat object at this point. I can take a look by clicking on the view, and you can see it from different angles. So you can see that it's currently a one-dimensional shape. So what I want to do at this point is I want to pull this up by using the push-pull. And once I click on the push-pull, as I mentioned, the height that I want to go is 32. So I don't want to estimate. I don't want to just kind of guess. So I'm just going to type in 32, return, and that tells me from here to here is 32 exactly. All right. So that kind of gives me my starting area. Now we're going to do what is called an offset. And what an offset does, it allows me to, I'll show you what it does. Here's my offset icon, and I click right here, the offset, and it would give me the perfect shape, and I know that the offset I want to do is 11 inches. So I type in 11, hit return, and that gives me the offset. And the next thing I want to do is I want to draw a line from here to here and also from here to here. And I'm going to use the pencil. And once you hover over it, it clicks from here to here, here to here. And as you can see, the computer wants to help you, and it gives you some It'll say midpoint, it'll say on edge, and so forth. All right, so with that being said, I'm going to use the eraser and erase this. And the reason why I did that is now I'm going to push and pull this rectangle, and I'm going to push it all the way down to where it gets down to the edge, and hopefully we will be able to erase that midpoint. So I go over to the push-pull icon again. Where's my push-pull? There it is. I select it, and I go all the way down, and as I go down, I want to go where until it says on edge like so. And I click, and now I can see in all the different angles, I can see that. And the way that I'm rotating and viewing is just holding the mouse down, the spinning the cursor, the spinning wheel, excuse me. If you hold the spinning wheel down, that allows it to get into this view, or you could come over here and click on this. All right, so now that we have an offset, the next thing we want to do is we want to cut out the circle, the semicircle right here. And the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to use my tape measure, click on tape measure, and as I mentioned earlier, we said that the height of this object was 32 inches from here to here. So I want to go halfway up. I want to measure halfway up, so I select from here to here, and I just type 1/6 and enter. So that tells me this line is 16 inches, and it tells me it's halfway. So I want to do the same thing. I want to go from this edge inward 16 inches as well. And so this intersection is 16 inches here and 16 inches here. So that's where I'm going to draw my circle. So to draw my circle, I'm going to click on my circle right here, get to my midpoint, like so. Here's my intersection, and I'm going to draw my circle until it says on edge, like so. Now I know that I'm on the edge. All right, there, I'm on the edge. So now that I'm on the edge, let's see if I can push and pull this section. I select it and I push it until it goes all the way to edge, and that's how you get rid of it, like so. And let's do the same thing over here. I select it, and then I push until it goes to where it says on edge, and that's how we get rid of this. Alrighty. I'm not going to get rid of these marks yet because I'm going to use it again. So I know that. So I'm going to go over here and do the same thing. Use my ruler and go from the top or the bottom and go 16 inches. So we go 16, enter. Once again, from this edge, go over 16, and we know that this is our midpoint. Go back to my circle and go up until it says on edge. And now that we're on the edge, I can do my push-pull again, select this guy, and push it to where I get to where it says on edge. Same thing here until it says on edge. And voila, that's how we get that semicircle, this portion. And now we're going to cut out the middle section here. And as we said, this particular middle section here, the circle here, the diameter is going to be 16 inches. So I had the circle, and I'm going to just do, as I start drawing my circle, instead of typing in 16 for the diameter, I'm going to put in just 9 for the radius. I'm sorry, 8, which would be half. So I just type in 8 and enter. And that tells me that this is 8. Push pull again. I select this guy, go all the way and go to where until you get to where it says on edge. Right. Trying to get to where it says endpoint. Sorry. And when we say endpoint, we look at it from different angles, and sure enough, it went all the way through. Same thing here. Let's draw the circle right from the middle, and then type in 8 because that's our radius. Push, pull, and go to where it says endpoint. There we go, endpoint. And now we can see that it's a nice hollow all the way through. All right, we're getting closer. So now we're going to go to the back tail, the back section, and I need to kind of find the midpoint. A couple ways I could do it, but I showed you using the ruler earlier, but this time I'm going to do a different way. I know that this is perfectly rectangular, and so I'm going to just use my pencil. So if I use my pencil, I'm going to go from one endpoint to the other endpoint, and same thing here, one endpoint to the other endpoint, and I know that this is my intersection. So as we said earlier, this particular circle that I'm going to draw here, the diameter is 18 inches. So this time I want to go half of that, which would be 9. So we're going to select a circle, start from here, and type in 9, enter, and that's how we get 9. Next, I'm going to do push and pull. One last thing, and we're almost done. We're going to do push and pull. And we're going to pull out, in this case, it's going to come out 32 inches. So I select, oh, you see how these are all 4 separate items? So I don't want to pull each of them out to 32 inches. So what I can do is erase these marks, erase, 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 and erase. And I can erase these at any time, but I like to just erase these all at the end. These were my lines from the tape measure, so we'll erase those later. So now I'm gonna push and pull this item. Earlier, it showed me as 4. Now it shows me as 1 item. So when I pull this out, I want to pull this one out 32 inches. So I just type in 32 and enter, and I know that is now 32. All right, so that is our completed item. One last thing we want to do, and which is I want to use my measurement to show the different measurements here. So I'm going to erase some of these lines that are no longer necessary. They were our guidelines, so just kind of clean it up. Here are all the lines that are all erased. I could erase this item. Not necessary. Erase that item. Just kind of cleaning it up a little bit. And now we got it looking nice and pretty. Okay, so this looks good. So what I want to do is kind of pull in, pull out. This is your view mode, just by using the scroll wheel. So get it to an angle that you like, and you want to do measurements from 2 different angles. And then after you do those 2 different, so I'm going to do measurements from this angle, take a screenshot, switch it to a different angle, do some measurements, and take a screenshot and put those 2 screenshots on our web page. So let's go do the tape measure, which is located right here. Click on the measurement. So if I measure this, it shows you the blue line, and I just select it, and then I could just pull it out. So you get that angle. Let's do the same thing here. Let's use this blue line and pull this guy out, and we can see that this measurement is, and we could, let's do one more, which would be this one here. Pull this one out. All right, so let's take a screenshot of this. If you're on a Mac, you would just do Command-Shift-4, take a screenshot, and then I'm gonna switch it to a different angle just to get a different look here. and from here do some other measurements. So let's say, for example, I want to measure the diameter of that. It tells me it's 1 foot 6 inches. The diameter of this, 1 foot 4 inches. And I could take a picture of this, which would be a different angle. And I don't have to worry that I didn't take a picture of every single dimension. As long as you get majority of it, that will be perfectly fine. And those are our two different dimensions that we want to have. We want to hit the save button, and we want to put these two images onto our web page, and we are now done with part 1. Good job, class.